D1 Milano have been one of the quickest growing brands that I have seen since their inception in 2013. They've hammered my Facebook and Instagram feeds with adverts since that, and they have gained so much popularity. I've even spotted them on the wrist of reality stars before. Their Genta-inspired designs definitely have a big part to play in that, but their quirky, fun and colourful watches also really help. The question is, are they any good? Well, my name's Jason. I'm your watch guy today. Let's find out. On the outset, you could probably pin this as a mixture of a Nautilus and a Royal Oak, but there is so much more going on in this design. They've sent me their turquoise AUTOMATICO, which adds a brilliant pop of colour, but also is quite refined with that sunray dial and the elegant style of those indices. I love the high polish accents to the outer sides of the bezel. It plays with the high brushed centers really well. The crown has a cubic shape to it, which is something that I've never seen on a watch before. I'll be honest, this design note is definitely for looks over functionality because it's not exactly the easiest to get hold of. It is, however, a really nice design difference as well as being screw down and signed. The casing's really well shaped and, as I say, really pulls off that Nautilus and Royal Oak merger. We have lovely chamfers to the upper and lower sides of the case, and that breaks up the well finished brushed profile that we have. It's definitely a thinner watch with a 9.8mm thickness, and that diameter comes in at 41.5. For me, the shape and the integrated bracelet really does help with that sizing when you're fitting it to wrist. And that's definitely needed because the lug to lug comes in just below that 50 mark with 49mm. Something that really helps is the angles of those lugs turning towards the wrist and how they flow into the integrated bracelet. I was really quite impressed when I got this in hand and had a real in-person look at that bracelet. It's really well shaped with those angles. It tapers towards the clasp, which is a hidden butterfly clasp. We do have a 50-meter water resistance, which I think is probably mostly down to the screwed in case back. It displays that Miyota 9000 series movement, and that higher spec Miyota 9000 movement was definitely required, with the price tag coming in at $730. Another nice touch is that the movement is well finished. It has a customized rotor. And to finish off this casing, we obviously have a sapphire crystal. The colour of this watch is absolutely brilliant, and it's what really drew me into this piece in particular. But if it's not exactly your style, they do have plenty of other colour variants available. The sunray effect is absolutely brilliant, and it really catches the light well. Beyond that, the step down minute track also has its own texture. The indices are all high polished and they are applied throughout the dial, with a double baton at 12 o'clock, a shortened baton at 3, and really nice angles to again give them a nice catch to the light. That shortened baton at the 3 o'clock is there to accommodate the date window. Now that is not colour matched, and I won't lie, it does throw me off a little bit when I look at this watch. You know, when it comes to a date window, I love a bit of symmetry. I'd have loved to have seen this at the 6 o'clock instead. I think it would have finished off the watch so much better. Our D1 Milano logo is printed to the dial, followed below the handset with AUTOMATICO. I do think this dial is really refined throughout, and it works very well, especially with that more simple handset. The stainless steel fence post handset has a recessed center in place of a loom signature, and I think it definitely adds another dynamic to them. It almost follows in the angular nature to this piece. Finishing off the dial, the pencil thin second hand has a lovely sweep to it due to the higher beat Miyota movement, and it reaches very well out onto that minute track. I'd say my favorite part of this watch, definitely the dial, but in a close second, funny enough, it's the bracelet. It's fully brushed throughout and it tapers beautifully towards that clasp. The pushpin links have beautiful angles to them. And to the side we have chamfers that match in beautifully to that almost bead blasted chamfer that we have on the casing. The butterfly clasp, not exactly my choice, but it is well hidden with the overhanging D1 Milano logo. I know I'm not the only one that isn't a fan of butterfly clasps, but they've definitely made it work with this one. And also, I would have expected nothing else with this style of watch, and I don't think anyone else will. As you can tell, it fits really well on my wrist. It definitely got a perfect fit for me. I could have probably have done with a smaller case diameter, but that's because I have tiny wrists and you should probably take that into account. In the intro, I asked if these watches are any good. Well, I'll tell you now, I've really enjoyed it. I've worn it so much, to be honest, since it's actually arrived. I've even added some of my own marks to it. You may have seen them in the pictures. For the last couple of weeks, it's been a really frequent switch in and out for me. That's not to say that there aren't any improvements that I would have liked. I think an applied logo would have definitely brought up the dynamic of the dial and really sold the rest of it to me. As well as that, the date window not being matched into the dial is a little bit of a letdown. And as you know, I prefer it to be at 6 o'clock. In addition, $730 is a lot to spend on a watch, especially when they're not using a Swiss movement. And personally, I'm not someone that buys in to Swiss movements being the best in the world. I'll tell you now, they're not. Even if they are not as reliable as the Japanese, and trust me, if you look into it, the SW200 is not as reliable as the Miyota 9000. But we do have this premium in our heads that we want Swiss. I can see and I can feel the quality in the build of this watch. Final note, the crown is not easy to use at all. I guess if you set it once every time you pick it up, it's not that big of an issue, but it's not easy to get hold of. That being said, I love the design note that they've made with it. It's completely different to anything that I've seen. So I don't know if I'd change it or I'd just put up with it. I'd have loved to have had this watch in, and after seeing all the advertisements tell you that it's just a hype piece. But I have to be honest, and it's really not. It's well made. I've enjoyed wearing it. It looks good. The watchmaking behind it with the 9000 series movements and the applied indices and the dial quality, it's all there. And obviously, you know, if I enjoy a watch, I'm going to tell you I enjoy a watch. And it's great. So well done to D1 Milano. I'd love to know what you guys think about this one, because I'm pretty sure that all of your feeds will have been full of their adverts too for some time. So tell me in the comments what your thoughts on this is. Thanks for watching today, guys. I really appreciate it. It has been lovely to finally have D1 Milano on the channel. As I say, they have definitely been a fixture in my Instagram feed and my Facebook feed for a long time. And I won't lie, a lot of those advertisements definitely perked my interest. They are linked in the description below if you are interested in this one, or you want to check out their other models, head over there. I'm sure they would absolutely love that. Thank you for watching again. Remember to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.